want to know why some men effortlessly draw women and while others struggle to even get noticed? It's not about looks, money, or smooth lines. It's about triggering something deep inside her that she can't explain, but she feels it. I'm talking about subtle, powerful moves that spark curiosity, ignite chemistry, and make her think about you long after you're gone. These aren't tricks. These are natural triggers of attraction that work on a subconscious. When you walk into a room, long before you speak, you've already made an impression. It's in the tilt of your head, the rhythm of your stride, the way your eyes scan the space. Women are incredibly attuned to energy. They can sense confidence, anxiety, self-assuredness, or uncertainty without you uttering a single word. Presence is not just about posture or the clothes you wear, though those can help. It's about what you project from within. If your inner dialogue is saying, "I hope I'm enough," it will seep into your body language. If instead your inner dialogue says, "I know who I am, I know my value," that will radiate naturally without you even trying. Think about it when you see someone who walks in and immediately captures attention. What's happening there? They're not necessarily the best dressed, nor the most conventionally attractive person in the room. But they are grounded, they are anchored in themselves. Their movements are intentional, unhurried. Their eyes meet others without darting away. They are not frantically seeking approval, they are simply existing with certainty. That is magnetic. And here's the thing, this isn't about faking it until you make it. Women can detect false confidence the same way they can detect a fake smile. It feels forced, unnatural, and a little off. True presence comes from a place of alignment between who you are internally and how you express yourself externally. It's a deep comfort in your own skin. You don't have to perform or entertain to be noticed. You just have to be fully in the moment, with your mind, body, and attention all in the same place. One of the most attractive qualities in a man is when he can be still without being invisible. He doesn't shrink into the background, but he doesn't demand attention either. It's the quiet authority of someone who's seen enough of life to not be rattled by every little thing. When you carry that energy, people instinctively want to be around you because it feels safe, grounded, and intriguing all at once. She'll wonder, what is it about him? And that curiosity is the first step toward deep attraction. The irony is, you don't get presence by trying to be presentable for her. You get it by becoming present for yourself. You notice how your feet connect to the ground when you stand. You slow your breathing. You let silence fill the space without rushing to fill it with noise. You pay attention, not to your own self-conscious thoughts, but to the room, the people, the energy around you. This shift is subtle, but it's powerful. It takes you out of the mental loop of self-judgment and places you firmly in the reality of the moment. Another part of presence is awareness of your body language. Open gestures, shoulders back, chin slightly lifted. These aren't just visual signals, they're physical cues that help you feel more confident. Your physiology impacts your psychology. When you occupy space as if you have a right to be there, you start to believe it. And when you believe it, she believes it too. You'll find that when you develop this kind of presence, you don't need to overcompensate with words or flashy behavior. You can walk into a cafe, stand in line, and she will notice you simply because your energy doesn't plead for attention. It earns it. She will sense you're the kind of man who doesn't need to be the loudest voice to be the strongest presence. In the end, presence is the silent conversation you have with the world. It says, "I know who I am enough, I belong here." And when you truly believe that, she feels it before she even knows your name. Attraction isn't just about how you look or how well you carry yourself. It's about how you make her feel when she's around you. And one of the most powerful ways to create deep attraction is through emotional intelligence. Not the kind of textbook definition you might read in a psychology manual, but the real, lived ability to notice, to listen, to respond in a way that makes her feel seen and understood. When you interact with a woman, you're not just exchanging words, you're engaging in a dance of emotions, subtle cues, and unspoken signals. She may smile, but is it a smile of amusement or a smile masking discomfort? She may be quiet. Does that mean she's bored, or is she simply reflecting? The man who understands these nuances stands out, because most people don't pay that much attention. Emotional intelligence begins with observation. You notice her tone of voice when she talks about her day. You notice when her energy shifts in the middle of a conversation. You pick up on the moments she leans in and the moments she retreats. And instead of reacting automatically or pushing forward without awareness, you adjust. You meet her where she is emotionally, without making it about your own ego. This doesn't mean you become a therapist, constantly asking, "Are you okay?" That can actually push her away. It means you have the capacity to recognize her emotional state and adapt your approach, without having to make a big production about it. If she's feeling lighthearted, you lean into humor. If she's sharing something vulnerable, you slow down, listen, and create space for her to express herself without judgment. Women are drawn to men who can handle their emotions without being overwhelmed or dismissive. A man with low emotional intelligence often responds in one of two ways. He either ignores the emotion altogether, hoping it will disappear, or he becomes defensive because it makes him uncomfortable. Neither of these responses creates attraction. What does create attraction is when she senses that you can stand in the middle of her storm without losing your center. That tells her you're someone she can trust. Think about how rare that is in today's world. So many interactions are superficial, quick texts, distracted conversations, and people more interested in what they'll say next than in actually hearing what's being said. When you step into a moment with full presence and genuine curiosity, you're giving her something that's becoming increasingly scarce, undivided attention. That alone can set you apart from every other man in the room. It's also about knowing when to speak and when to simply be quiet. There are moments when words would only dilute the connection, and your silence becomes the very thing that makes her feel understood. The look in your eyes, the way you nod slightly, the subtle tilt of your head. These are all ways of communicating, "I'm here with you, I get you." And often, that's more powerful than anything you could say. Another element of emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your own emotions. If you become reactive, easily offended, or visibly irritated by something she says, you send the message that you're unstable or overly sensitive. But when you can take a breath, keep perspective, and respond with thoughtfulness, you show emotional maturity. That's attractive because it signals stability, not just in this moment, but in the kind of partner you are in life. Sometimes deep attraction is sparked not by the grand gestures, but by the micro moments. When you remember something small she mentioned days ago and bring it up again. When you notice she's a little quieter than usual, and you gently ask if everything's okay, not to pry, but to offer support. When you sense she's holding back and you give her the space to open up in her own time. Emotional intelligence is essentially the art of tuning in. It's the willingness to go beyond the surface and touch the emotional undercurrents beneath. When you do this well, she feels emotionally safe. And when a woman feels safe, she can relax into herself. And that's when true attraction deepens. She's not drawn to you because of a clever line or an impressive accomplishment. She's drawn to you because she feels something rare, the freedom to be fully herself in your presence. And here's the paradox. When you develop this skill, you don't just become more attractive to women, you become more magnetic in every area of your life. People respond to those who truly listen, who can read the room, who can adapt without losing authenticity. You become someone others want to be around, not because you're chasing attention, but because your awareness makes them feel valued. In the end, emotional intelligence is not about being perfect. It's about being attuned enough to notice, grounded enough to stay present, and flexible enough to respond with intention. When you can do that consistently, you create a connection that goes far beyond surface attraction. You don't just catch her eye, you catch her trust. And once you have that, you've already planted the seed for something she won't want to let go of. There's a reason some men walk into a woman's life and leave a mark she can't erase. They don't rely on luck. They understand the hidden triggers that awaken something deep inside her. This isn't about cheesy lines or chasing. It's about sparking curiosity, igniting desire, and making her feel emotions she can't explain but craves to experience again. When you know these 9 triggers, you stop trying to convince her you're worth it. She feels it. She notices your presence, your energy, your confidence, and she can't help but be drawn closer. Attraction stops being an accident and starts being inevitable. So when you understand these 9 triggers, you stop stumbling through guesswork and start moving with intention. You're no longer just another man in the crowd. You become the one she remembers, the one she talks about, the one she feels in her bones. Attraction isn't about trying harder. It's about knowing what truly moves her and owning that power without apology. When you embody these triggers, you don't chase, you inspire pursuit. And that's when deep attraction isn't just possible, it's guaranteed level. And once you master them, you'll never chase again because she'll